The Galactic War's End. The Xanthian Empire's Grand Admiral Zorax stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Devastator, surveying the carnage before him. The once mighty Krellian fleet lay in ruins, their ships shattered and drifting lifelessly through the void. It had been a long and brutal campaign, but at last, victory was within grasp. "Admiral, the last pockets of Krellian resistance have been eliminated," reported his first officer, a tall, spindly creature with mottled green skin. "The galaxy is ours." Zorax allowed himself a momentary smile. The Xanthian-led alliance had conquered system after system, crushing all who stood in their way. The other races, the insectoid Vex, the gaseous Nebulan, and the crystalline Prismatics, had proven valuable allies, but it was the Xanthians who had truly driven this war. Yet even as they savored their triumph, an unsettling thought crept into Zorax's mind. Throughout the conflict, there had been whispers of another power, a species that had remained curiously absent from the galactic stage. They called themselves humans, and their homeworld, Earth, was said to be a primitive backwater, hardly worth the Xanthians' notice. But as the war dragged on, strange rumors began to circulate. Stories of human ships, far more advanced than any the Alliance had encountered, skirting the edges of known space. Tales of human spies infiltrating the highest echelons of alien governments, gathering intelligence for some unknown purpose. Zorax had dismissed these rumors as idle chatter, the product of overactive imaginations in the chaos of war. Humanity was a footnote, a minor species cowering in the shadows while their betters reshaped the galaxy. As he gazed out at the stars, however, a flicker of doubt crossed his mind. Could they have overlooked something? Was there more to these humans than they realized? No, he decided firmly. The war was over. The galaxy belonged to the Xanthian Alliance. Whatever secrets Earth might hold, they would pose no threat to the New Order. How very wrong he was. Light years away, in a hidden corner of the galaxy, a human fleet waited in silence. Sleek, deadly ships hung in the void, their hulls shimmering with advanced stealth technology. Aboard the flagship, a woman with piercing green eyes and close-cropped silver hair stood before a holographic display. "Admiral Kira Sato," a voice intoned. "The Xanthian Alliance has declared victory. They believe the war is over." Kira's lips curled into a cold smile. "Then it's time," she said softly. "Time to show them what humanity is truly capable of." She turned to her bridge crew, her expression hardening into one of grim determination. "Send the signal. All ships, prepare for jump. We've let this charade go on long enough." As the fleet surged forward, leaping across the stars towards the heart of Xanthian space, Kira felt a thrill of anticipation. The galaxy thought humanity weak, a primitive species content to hide in the shadows. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Humanity emerges. Grand Admiral Zorax was in the midst of a victory feast when the first reports came in. Strange energy signatures at the edge of Xanthian space. Unknown ships, vast in number and utterly alien in design, appearing as if from nowhere. At first, he assumed it was some kind of glitch, a malfunction in the Empire's sensor network. But as the sightings multiplied, a cold dread began to settle in his gut. "Bring up the visuals," he snapped, striding onto the bridge of the Devastator. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that made his blood run cold. A fleet, larger than any he had ever seen, was tearing through Xanthian defenses like tissue paper. Their ships were sleek, angular, bristling with weapons that glowed with an eerie blue light, and on the hull of each vessel, emblazoned in stark white, was a symbol he had seen only in the most hushed whispers. A stylized representation of a planet, with a single moon in orbit. Earth, the human homeworld. "Impossible," he breathed. The humans, they were primitives. They couldn't possibly. His words trailed off as the human fleet continued its relentless advance. Xanthian ships, the pride of the Empire, were being swatted aside like gnats. The humans moved with a precision and coordination that defied belief, their vessels dancing through the void in perfect synchronicity. Aboard the human flagship, Admiral Kira Sato allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction as the Xanthian defenses crumbled before her. The look of shock and disbelief on the alien faces, transmitted by hacked comm channels, was a sweet reward for the long years of preparation. "Admiral, the Xanthian flagship is in range," reported her tactical officer. "Shall we engage?" Kira's eyes narrowed. "Open a channel," she ordered. "I want to speak with this Grand Admiral myself." Zorax's face, a mask of confusion and fear, appeared on the view screen. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice trembling. "What do you want?" Kira leaned forward, her gaze boring into the alien admiral's eyes. "We are humanity," she said coldly, "and we're here to take back what's ours." She nodded to her tactical officer. "Fire at will." The human fleet unleashed a barrage of weaponry, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Plasma beams, graviton torpedoes, and dark energy warheads tore through the Xanthian ships, reducing them to clouds of glowing debris. Zorax could only watch in horror as his once invincible armada was dismantled before his eyes. The humans, these supposed primitives, were unleashing technology that made the Xanthians' most advanced weapons seem like children's toys. As explosions bloomed across the battlefield and alarms screamed throughout the Devastator, Zorax slumped in his chair, a look of utter defeat etched on his face. The war, he realized, was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. And humanity, the species they had dismissed as a footnote, was about to rewrite the history of the galaxy. The tables turned. The Xanthian fleet reeled in the face of the human onslaught, their formation shattering as ships frantically tried to evade the devastating weaponry of the Earth vessels. Admiral Kira Sato watched the chaos with a cold, clinical eye, her mind already racing ahead to the next phase of the battle. "Admiral, we're picking up a transmission from the Xanthian flagship," her communications officer reported. "It's Grand Admiral Zorax. He's requesting a ceasefire." Kira's lips curled into a humorless smile. "Put him through." The view screen flickered, and Zorax's face appeared, his features etched with a mix of fear and bewilderment. "Admiral Sato," he began, his voice trembling. I don't understand. How is this possible? Your species, your technology, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered." Kira leaned forward, her gaze boring into the alien admiral's eyes. "You made a grave mistake, Zorax," she said softly. "You assumed humanity was weak, primitive, an easy conquest." Her smile widened, taking on a predatory edge. "But we've been watching, learning, preparing for this moment." Zorax shook his head, his expression one of growing horror. "But the reports, the intelligence, we had no idea." "Of course you didn't," Kira snapped. "We made sure of that. While you were busy playing at Galactic Conquest, we were building, growing stronger, waiting for the right moment to strike." She leaned back in her chair, her eyes never leaving Zorax's face. "And now, the tables have turned. The hunters have become the hunted." Zorax's shoulders slumped, defeat etched in every line of his body. "What do you want?" he asked hoarsely. Kira's smile vanished, replaced by a look of cold determination. "Unconditional surrender," she said flatly. "Your forces will stand down immediately. Your alliance will disband, and you will submit to the authority of the Earth Federation." Zorax's eyes widened. "The Earth Federation. But there's no such thing." "There is now," Kira said grimly. "Humanity has united under a single banner, a single purpose, to take our rightful place as the dominant power in the galaxy." She nodded to her tactical officer. "Resume firing. Take out their command ships. I want their fleet in ruins." As the human weapons once again tore into the Xanthian forces, reducing proud warships to drifting hulks, Zorax could only watch in numb horror. The war had taken a turn he could never have imagined, and the very future of his species hung in the balance. On the bridge of the human flagship, Kira watched the destruction with a sense of grim satisfaction. The Xanthians had thought themselves the masters of the galaxy, the ultimate power in the universe. But they had never faced an enemy like humanity, an enemy that had spent decades hidden in the shadows, honing its skills and building its strength, an enemy that would stop at nothing to claim its destiny. The galaxy, Kira knew, would never be the same. The age of alien dominance was over. The era of humanity had begun. And woe to any who stood in their way. Secrets of Earth's survival. As the Xanthian fleet burned and the balance of power shifted irrevocably, Admiral Kira Sato's thoughts turned to the long, hard road that had led humanity to this moment. The sacrifices, the secrets, the relentless drive that had allowed a seemingly primitive species to stand toe-to-toe with the greatest powers in the galaxy. It had all begun decades ago, in the early days of the Galactic War. As the alien alliances clashed and worlds burned, Earth had watched from afar, a silent observer in the chaos. But the leaders of humanity had known, even then, that their isolation could not last forever. And so, in hidden bases and secret laboratories, the greatest minds of Earth had begun to work. Scientists, engineers, and strategists labored day and night, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and technology. They developed new weapons, new ships, new ways of harnessing the fundamental forces of the universe. But the key to their success, the secret weapon that would ultimately turn the tide, was something far more intangible. It was the indomitable human spirit, the refusal to accept defeat, the willingness to sacrifice everything for the greater good. As the years passed and the war raged on, humanity's leaders made the difficult decision to remain hidden, to let the galaxy believe that Earth was a backwater, a primitive world of no consequence. They stockpiled resources, built up their fleets, and waited for the right moment to strike. And all the while, they watched. They studied the alien races, their tactics, their technologies. They learned from their mistakes and adapted, always staying one step ahead of their potential foes. It was a strategy born of necessity, a gamble that would either lead to humanity's ascendance or its utter destruction. But the leaders of Earth knew that they had no choice. The alternative was to sit back and watch as the galaxy burned, to see humanity reduced to ashes in the flames of war. And so they persevered. They endured the long years of secrecy, the isolation, the constant fear of discovery. They watched as their loved ones grew old and died, never knowing the true extent of the sacrifices being made in their name. But through it all, they held fast to their vision, a vision of a galaxy united under human rule, of a future where Earth would take its rightful place among the stars. And now, as Kira watched the Xanthian fleet crumble before her eyes, she knew that the gamble had paid off. The long years of preparation, the secrets and the lies, had all been worth it. Humanity had emerged from the shadows, stronger and more powerful than anyone could have imagined. And the galaxy would never be the same. But even as she savored her victory, Kira knew that the war was far from over. The Xanthians were just the first of many foes that humanity would face in the coming years. There would be other alliances, other empires, all eager to test the mettle of this upstart species. But humanity would be ready. They had learned the lessons of the past, had honed their skills in the crucible of war, and they would face whatever challenges lay ahead with the same determination, the same relentless drive that had brought them to this moment. The future, Kira knew, belonged to humanity, and they would fight for it with every ounce of strength and courage they possessed. Legends on the battlefield. As the war raged on and the human fleet pushed deeper into Xanthian territory, stories began to spread among the ranks of the Earth Federation. Tales of heroism, of sacrifice, of ordinary men and women rising to extraordinary heights in the face of impossible odds. There was Captain Marcus Reeves, the daring fighter pilot who single-handedly held off an entire squadron of Xanthian warships, buying time for a crippled human cruiser to escape. His ship was destroyed in the battle, but his legend lived on, inspiring countless others to acts of bravery and selflessness. There was Sergeant Elena Nakamura, the ground forces commander who led a small squad of human soldiers in a desperate defense of a vital communications outpost. Outnumbered and outgunned, they fought with a ferocity that shocked their Xanthian foes, holding the line until reinforcements could arrive. And there was Dr. Liam Sorensen, the brilliant scientist who developed the quantum entanglement communicator, a device that allowed human ships to coordinate their attacks with perfect precision, even across vast distances. His invention changed the course of countless battles and earned him a place in the annals of human history. These were just a few of the stories that spread like wildfire through the human ranks, tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. They became the legends of the war, the heroes that every soldier aspired to emulate. But even as these tales of heroism and sacrifice lifted the spirits of the human forces, the Xanthians were beginning to feel the weight of their losses. With each passing day, more and more of their ships fell to the relentless human advance, their once proud fleet reduced to a shadow of its former self. Grand Admiral Zorax, watching helplessly from the bridge of his crippled flagship, knew that his only hope was to rally his allies, to call upon the other races of the galaxy to stand with the Xanthians against this new and terrifying threat. But as he reached out to his former partners, he was met with a chilling silence. The insectoid Vex, the gaseous Nebulon, the crystalline Prismatics, all had seen the power of the human fleet, and all had made the calculated decision to stand aside, to let the Xanthians face their fate alone. Zorax's heart sank as he realized the true extent of his miscalculation. He had thought the galaxy would stand with him, that the other races would rally to his cause in the face of this upstart species. But he had underestimated the fear that humanity instilled, the awe and terror that their sudden emergence had inspired. The other races, so long accustomed to the Xanthians' dominance, were now scrambling to come to terms with this new galactic order, to find their place in a universe where humanity reigned supreme. And so, as the human fleet pressed ever onward, as more and more Xanthian ships fell before their relentless advance, Zorax could only watch in despair, knowing that the end was near. The legends of humanity had taken root, spreading like wildfire across the galaxy. And in their wake, the old order was crumbling, giving way to a new era, a new age of human dominance. The future, Zorax realized with a sinking feeling of dread, belonged to humanity, and there was nothing he or anyone else could do to stop it. A new galactic order. As the last remnants of the Xanthian fleet fled before the advancing human armada, Admiral Kira Seto knew that the moment she had worked towards for so long was finally at hand. The Xanthian Empire, once the undisputed masters of the galaxy, had been brought to its knees, its power shattered by the strength and determination of the human race. But even as she savored her victory, Kira knew that the true work was just beginning. The galaxy, so long dominated by alien powers, would need to be reshaped, remolded in the image of humanity. It would be a daunting task, one that would require all of humanity's strength and ingenuity. But Kira had no doubt that they would rise to the challenge. Already, human diplomats and ambassadors were fanning out across the galaxy, making contact with the other races, establishing new alliances and trade agreements. The Vex, the Nebulon, the Prismatics, all were eager to curry favor with the new dominant power, to secure their place in the new galactic order. And at the center of it all was Earth, the once insignificant backwater that had now become the hub of a vast interstellar empire. Human technology, human culture, human ideals were spreading like wildfire, transforming the very fabric of galactic society. But not all were content with this new state of affairs. On the fringes of human space, whispers of discontent began to grow. Some of the alien races, long accustomed to their own ways, chafed under human rule. Others, seeing their own power and influence waning, plotted in secret, dreaming of the day when they might reclaim what was once theirs. And the Xanthians, broken and humiliated, nursed their wounds and bided their time. They had underestimated humanity once, had paid the price for their arrogance. They would not make the same mistake again. Kira knew that the challenges ahead would be great, that the road to a truly united galaxy would be long and fraught with peril. But she also knew that humanity had come too far, had sacrificed too much, to turn back now. They had proven themselves in the crucible of war, had shown the galaxy the true measure of their strength and resolve. Now it was time to build, to create, to forge a new future for all the races of the galaxy. And as she looked out across the stars, at the vast expanse of space that now lay open before them, Kira felt a sense of awe, a sense of destiny. Humanity's journey was just beginning, and the possibilities were endless. The galaxy had thought them weak, had dismissed them as primitives and upstarts. But now they would see the truth. Now they would understand the true power and potential of the human race. A new era had dawned, a new age of exploration, of discovery, of boundless opportunity. And at the forefront of it all, leading the way into the unknown, would be the men and women of Earth. The legends of the past had brought them to this moment, but it was the legends of the future, the heroes yet to come, that would define the shape of the galaxy for generations to come. And Kira knew, with a certainty that burned like fire in her veins, that those legends would be human, that the future, whatever it might hold, would belong to them. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity, at long last, would take its rightful place among the stars.